Good morning. I'm WBTV First Alert Meteorologist Eric Garlick alongside Chief Meteorologist Al Conklin. I'm going to talk a little bit about the drought that's really setting up on this edition of the First Alert.
Yeah, and we've got some welcome rain in the forecast in the short term, but looking back over the last couple of months and, well, really looking down the road, it looks like warmer than normal weather and, potentially average rainfall, but we're below average right now. It has been that way. We were very dry February and March, and April's doing okay right now.
Yeah, let's talk about how we got into the situation that we're in. Let's talk first about high temperatures. Other than the week where we had rain, temperatures above average for much of the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, you can see all those that are shaded in red or clear are either at or above average, and most of them are above average. We only had a handful of days, maybe 10 at most, that were below average, and most of those were right about average, maybe a degree or so. So it's been on the warm side, no question about that, especially the nights. The nights have really been warm. You know, the average high right now is about 75, the average low is 51, but most mornings we're in the 60s now.
Yeah.
It's really warm.
And, the warm, dry conditions, of course, lead to drought.
Yep.
And we haven't had much rain. Take a look at this graphic. So this is rainfall since March 16th. And with the exception of April 6th, 7th, and 10th, really, nothing too pronounced in the way of rainfall. We had that 1.33 inches on the 7th of April. But other than that, our rainfalls have been less than an inch, which is pretty rare for this time of year. When we get these storms, we typically see quite a bit of rain coming out of them, to pick up 6/10 or so. Not a huge deal at all.
Yeah, and typically, while we would be getting that rain that you mentioned, on top of the lack of rainfall and the warmer weather, we've also had a lot of wind. Not so much in the last week or so, but most of this spring has been very windy. That also helps to just dry everything out, and that's why we've had elevated fire risk here over the last several months, really, in a large part of the Carolinas. And so here are the numbers that we have for you. You can see for the month, as of right now, we're down about 6/10 of an inch of rain. Again, that could be made up in an hour's time. However, we're approaching now 4 inches of a deficit for the year. That's less to be made up in a short period of time. You get into the drought slowly. Typically, you'd like to get out of them slowly, but that's not normally how it works. Typically, you end a drought with a flood. I'm not saying we're in necessarily a hard drought right now, but things are definitely dry. And if this pattern were to continue going deeper into spring and summer, we could really find ourselves in bad shape. We're not saying that's going to happen, but we're saying right now, we're at a sort of a crossroads. Where are we going with this?
Yeah, the next couple of weeks, showing above average rainfall in terms of climatology. But as you mentioned, if we get into summer and we're still in a drought, typically you don't see big rainmakers in summer. You get the pop-up thunderstorms where some people see it and some people don't. You don't get the big cold fronts that swing through and dump a lot of rainfall. And a lot of rainfall is what we need to get out of this dry pattern or even drought that we're getting into. So here's what drought looks like as of this week. And we'll pop this up. And we should be getting a new one this morning if it hasn't already come in. But you can see we're setting up in moderate drought, got severe drought setting up along the coastline. Bottom line, we need rain.
Yeah, we need rain. As you mentioned, summertime is not the time really to fix this because the thunderstorm pattern is really sort of popcorn in nature. It's not widespread typically. And then you have to get through June, July. It's not until you get into August and September where perhaps you get tropical rains, which are usually more widespread, but certainly that's why I say you could go from a drought situation to a flood. Again, we're not necessarily expecting that here, but we are at a bit of a crossroads. If this gets worse and we see ourselves in severe drought, and now we start to see ourselves into May and June and July, how are we going to dig out of that? It's going to be a very difficult, tall task.
Yeah, absolutely. And, typically, as you mentioned earlier, we get a lot of rainfall in a quick time to snap out of a drought, not seeing that coming anytime soon, but hopefully we get some steady rainfall over the next couple of days. And rain chances are on the higher end the next couple of days with first alerts in place for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Not off the chart, not guaranteeing everybody's going to see rain every day, but there's a pretty good chance that you'll see rain over the next 3 days.
Yeah, and again, it will vary in intensity, but once we get through this, we're done then. As we go into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, probably Wednesday is rain-free. Doesn't look too impressive. So if you don't get it in the next 3 days, then we're in trouble for your location. But I do think, as you said, Eric, spread out over 3 days. I think pretty much everybody's going to get at least some rain out of this. We had some the other night where some places got quite a bit and even had severe weather down around Lancaster, York, and up into Union County, parts of Chesterfield. But most of us had very, very spotty light rain. Now that may be a little bit different. The character of the rain may change a little bit over the next couple of days, where perhaps it's a bit more widespread and maybe some more thunderstorms coming our way. That would be good news. And as we go out the next week, week and a half, we see in general most of the south and the east has above average rainfall, but it's really focused more across Texas than it is the Carolinas.
Yeah, but we'll take anything above average in terms of rainfall, especially when you look at this and see above average temperatures expected during that same time frame as well.
Yeah, so we are likely to remain on the warm side. Again, we'll knock back the temperatures a little bit come Sunday into Monday, but then we're right back into the 80s next week, we believe. So this will be short-lived. So as far as our weekend goes, again, sort of a split decision in terms of outdoor plans. If you absolutely want dry weather, it's Sunday. If you don't mind dodging a couple of thunder showers with pockets of dry weather too, then Saturday could work out for you. Again, a 60% chance right now. It'll be the warmer day of the weekend, but there's much lower humidity in the forecast for Sunday. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, and that'll kind of roll over into Monday as well before we start to see the heat and humidity building. Tuesday and Wednesday back in the mid to upper 80s. You can clearly see that when the cold front comes through, Saturday 83, Sunday 75. So that'll kind of clear out the air mass, bring us some lower humidity levels and some lower rain chances. But as we've covered the last 10 minutes or so, we need the rain.
Yeah, we need rain. So 75 for today, then 78 tomorrow, then 83. Then it's a repeat. 75, 78, 83. We're back into the mid and even upper 80s by Wednesday. And again, we think next week, while we start a little on the cool side, not by much on Sunday, Monday is already above average. We think most of next week will be as well. So keep your fingers crossed, say a prayer. Hopefully get some rain here over the next couple of days. And we'll keep you posted at WBTV, WBTV.com. And don't forget, please, download our free WBTV weather app. For Eric, I'm Chief Meteorologist Al Conklin. Hope you have a great Thursday, Friday, and weekend.